This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe, and let's geek out on AI.
Hey everyone, it's Brad Kilgore here with another episode of the AI Marketing Experts. So we're going to kick off in just a minute, but make sure that you share, like, tell your friends about our show. We're growing fast. We're really proud of it. So with that, we're going to kind of kick off with my associates here who are fun and sometimes verbose, but at the same time, super geniuses when it comes to what we're talking about. So with that, we're going to kick off, kind of go around the room this week of kind of some of the latest things that we're using internally that you could use in your business, because again, it changes so fast. So with that, who would like to jump in first and kind of do a little show and tell?
I can jump in. I'll share. I have a very recent use case that happened this week. I have a fantastic team. They're smart people. They know what to do, but sometimes, as we all know, software does not work for us. It breaks. It has, days of just, not cooperating. So there was a software that wasn't working, and they had tried several things, and then they came to me, and I didn't have any additional information that they didn't also have, which, we're all spread thin, right? We're trying to run our businesses and do all the things. And so I just jumped right into ChatGPT and said, I'm having a problem with this software. Here are the things that I've tried. What should I do? And outline of 8 different things that the team member could try. And I just said, hey, it's in our team account, like ChatGPT account, and go check it out there. It has everything you need. And she was able to get the software working for her. And this is nothing, super major, but it's so simple. And it's something that I think we forget all the time, is that this, like AI, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever we're using, our team members are probably also newer to using it in a lot of ways. And it's just not necessarily an everyday practice in the things that pop up. And so this is just that PSA, my reminder to you to have your team use it and ask it, what should it do? Maybe before they ask you.
I love that concept, Jen, and I'm going to piggyback right off of that, because what I'm finding is we are all in with a lot of the AI tools and LLMs, but we really have embraced Gemini and what's happening there. We've talked about it. I think we talked some last week about NotebookLM and some of the other features of Gemini. But I forget that in the top right corner of Chrome, if you're on the latest Chrome browser, there's a little button right there that says Gemini. And all I got to do, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm stuck on something, Laura reminds me this all the time. I'm stuck on something. I click on the little Gemini button, and then I talk to my browser and say, by the way, I'm in this software that most people don't even know, but I have this question, right? And then miraculously, it gives me some pretty straight advice on where to navigate, how to fix it, and even gives me links of where to go. And I really need to remind my team and what have you that that's there, because we all get caught up in the day-to-day. And I know for me sometimes, because I have different people that work for me at different times of the day, sometimes it's in the evening and I'm like unplugged from work. I need to remind them, hey, you've got that little assistant right there. And he or she is ready to help you pretty much with anything. I know that there's different ways that we can train our notebook LMs and train different models to be our second brain and some of these other things that I know I've explored. But just remember that little button up there. I mean, it's just super helpful. And I don't know what the statistics are of how many people use Google Chrome, but I would guess it's the top, right? And then lastly, when it comes to Gemini and Google and NotebookLM, they rolled out 3.1 the other day. It's not out to everybody yet, But one of the new features that I really like, because there's agentic stuff coming into it. There's a lot of advanced features, advanced reasoning. But one of the cool things, and it piggybacks off of what we talked about a week or two ago, is now when you're in NotebookLM, you create a slide deck. One of the biggest challenges was, how do I edit this thing, right? Okay, how do I get it out of there and try to get it into Canva or PowerPoint or Google Slides or whatever it is? Well, now there's a new little piece in there where you could just say revise. You hit the little button and you can then speak to it. And what they recommend at this point is you revise all your slides before you hit the go button. I haven't tested it as much as I'd like. We'll be doing more testing this weekend, but that's a big thing. And then also that it will now be able to be downloaded into PowerPoint, which I then believe from there you really are going to have a lot more editing things. So it's just mind-boggling how quickly you can now really put together content, slide decks, all these things. We know it's going to continue to evolve. We know it's going to integrate into Google Slides and to all these other pieces of Google, but it just keeps improving. And so I'm pretty grateful for that.
That's exciting.
awesome.
That's very
Cool.
exciting. I'm going to jump in and piggyback kind of off of both of you guys regarding Jen's example on having the team kind of research things. I had an issue with the lovely blue screen of death when I walked into the office one day, and it was before, I would be able to reach my IT guy, and he's awesome. But basically, obviously having just a lot of things up on the screen, and I'm really rusty on bios and going into those C prompts. So I just kept taking pictures, and chat was so calm, and it would say, don't worry, we got this. We just need you to, hit the F12 fast when you're restarting, or watch for the logo and do this. It walked me through resetting so that Windows would load first. I was tickled, you know what I mean? Because again, I got my day started without any issues, but it's, so if you don't have the little Gemini button at the top because your machine's dead or you have an issue, take your phone, start taking photos and walk it through. But the encouragement, it was great to say, don't worry, your systems will reload just fine. It was very encouraging throughout the whole process, which is kind of funny on that. But to Brad's point, yes, the Gemini button, I mention that to my team quite often for if they're sending anything over to me, if they have an e-blast, if they have some messaging, if they have any kind of posts that are going out online, I say click the Gemini button and walk through to make sure it brings the tone in of the clients that we're working with. It gives a nice little grammar suggestions if they find that something's gone awry regarding anything that the flow of it, the language, etc. So it's nice to just have, again, our team to do a self-check with AI's help before things come over for final review. Really has moved projects along. But I think my tip of the week, or what we're looking at with our stack, if you're not advancing quite yet or comfortable with going into some advanced agents, agentic items, if you're still using ChatGPT, which gets you so far along, the question I tend to get is, but it doesn't sound like me, or why do I have to enter my business stuff over and over again? And the one thing that we've found quite valuable is custom GPTs. And we've mentioned them briefly, but I think that's a tool that has kind of, since it's not as glitzy and glamorous at the moment, people forget how valuable that is to everybody on your team. So if you have a custom GPT that has been trained on, a lot of, you can bring in as much training as you'd like, that starts you so far advanced. So you can have one trained for social media. You can have one trained for writing blogs. You can have one trained for your SOPs, HR, whatever the need might be. And if you're still kind of scratching your head going, wait a minute, I'm not sure what you're saying, watch the show notes, because we have some things that'll be coming your way that will introduce you to some custom GPTs that we have found very helpful to businesses. And something, again, that once you get used to using, you'll find that that's a quick tool that you can grab whenever you're in need.
And you can get
Very
really
good.
wild and crazy and stack your custom GPTs.
I'm glad
Like,
you mentioned that.
woo, now you're partying.
Yeah, now you're right. Now
Yes.
you're
Yes. And so what that means, what Jen is mentioning, is that if you're in that social media and you're thinking, well, wait a minute, or reverse it. If you're in your blog writer and you're saying, okay, this is a great blog, how can I bring in my social media expert and then write those social media posts based off that blog? So that's something that really, like you said, that gets the party going, because you have them talking to each other and you know that they're trained in what they do best.
Yep.
I'm gonna piggyback on all of that, because a couple of cool things. One, you're talking about your software thing, Laura and Brad, instead of the old days of every staff member, did you Google it yet before asking me? Now, did you check on Gemini or whatever? But so there's going to be the smoothie of the day story, and then a couple of ideas that piggyback on yours. So today I was in a hurry. So my lunch was a smoothie, and I've got one of these, it's not a Bosch, but it's a brand, whatever, stick blenders, whatever. And in the top, like, I don't have a Ninja or any of these little smoothie makers. So I just put it in a Ziploc tub, as they call it, like the one with the jar with the lid on it, and put all my stuff in and started blending it. Had my hand over top, which is what I do. My hand gets all covered with it, and all that kind of stuff. So I took a picture of that, like one of the whole unit and then one of the label, hopped in the car to go get my coffee at McDonald's, and had a chat with my chat and said, okay, I gave you the two pictures. Here's what I did. Here's what happened to my hand. What do we do? It went out online. It looked all over the place to see if, like, I bought it from Amazon. Okay, well, that one doesn't come with the attachments. You know, some of them have it where you can take the stick blender part of it. You gals might know. I don't know if the guys, kitchen is as kitchen savvy. I ain't, but you can get ones that have like the chopper and the blend, and basically make it into your own thing. Mine doesn't, but it came back with a bunch of different product suggestions of a silicone sleeve thing that has a little slit in it that I can put over the top. And it's like, oh, I'm solved, right? So my hand won't get messy next time. So yeah, definitely ask you. I literally just took a picture and started talking. It was like, that was simple. So if you guys aren't using it for your eyeballs, take pictures of labels and things and model numbers and all that kind of stuff and say, where do I replace this light bulb? Where do I do this? That's a really good entry. So Laura's talking about custom GPTs, and the other side of that is projects, right? So projects are sort of like a custom GPT, you build it, you can have a conversation. The next time you build it, you can have a conversation, like the next time you deploy it. It doesn't know your previous conversation, but it has all the framework of everything you put inside it, right? So think of it as this container with instructions that every time you run it, it knows those instructions. Now, a project, same thing. You can give it instructions, you can give it files, but now you can have a series of chats, right? So it's just sort of like just a little bit next level. And we are going to be sharing with you guys how to build sort of like your master prompt that we keep talking about and stuff like that. But ultimately, what I just taught my team this week, and I actually taught a client the same thing as well, one of our carpet cleaning clients, is how to build your AI clone. So all we're talking about is literally, and again, check the show notes. You'll be able to figure out where we got prompts for all this kind of stuff now and all that kind of stuff, because we've been asked way too many times. So all we're talking about is you start a conversation in ChatGPT with a prompt that is asking to be your chief of staff, brand new chief of staff, interview me with a series of questions, one at a time, right? And just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until you believe you have full context, right? And all you do is talk, right? So I think we're all good at talking, not just me. So all we do is talk into the ChatGPT, have that conversation with our friendly persona or just the microphone button, whichever works best for you. Have it ask the next question one at a time, and that's what the prompt does. When you're done that, you have now basically extracted your brain, who you are, your business, your tone of voice, your desires in life, like all of it. Just dump it in there, right? Now what you do is you put another prompt in, and you say, okay, with all of this, can you synthesize that into like a playbook, into a one document that summarizes all of that from this day forward, all I have to do is drop that document into a chat or into a project, and it knows everything about me, right? So it's always starting there. And then now you've got this playbook. So I was actually teaching my EA this morning, but I did, because she wasn't on the team training earlier in the week. And I just said, okay, let's just do this together. I'm not going to, we're going to just start it. I'm going to show you it. I've got a little bit of a playbook for the team to do this. Pop this in, just get starting to answer those questions. Come back to me in about 30 minutes. I'll bounce off to another meeting. Come back to me in 30 minutes and tell me if you've got something that you think now inside a project that will be, help you with your role, with your job, with the company, all of that kind of stuff. Right. And she came back, put it in the project. And I said, okay, what do you think? She goes, oh my God, this is great. I said, cool. What's your toughest problem in question right now? And she goes, what? And I said, no, we're being straight up honest here. You're going to type it into the project. You're going to put your toughest problem, the thing that's bugging you and keeping you awake at night about your role, the company, a client, us, whatever. Again, I'm your CEO. I get to know anyways. Let's dump it in. We dumped it in. And that toughest problem, and said, instead of saying, give me an answer, give me some ideas to ways to think about this and some strategies to consider, and let's have a conversation. And its first answer, she almost cried. And I said, you are now like a 1-year university degree farther along in being an effective business assistant. And this is like, that would have taken you how long to get to? And now you can finish it up today within a 15-20 minute conversation, grab your box of tissues, weep into them, and you've just solved that problem. And it was just, once you learn one more of these steps, the world opens up. And we've noticed this. You guys are going to notice this as well as you pick away at certain things. And then the next advanced levels start to make sense when you're ready.
So that's the title of today's episode of AI Will Make You Weep.
AI will make you weep.
So I'm going to piggyback off of everything that you guys have talked about, because what you have all described is kind of like the journey that we've all taken, right? Some of us a little bit more advanced than others. You start inside of a tool like ChatGPT, right? And then you advance to, oh, hey, this is a cool thing, custom GPTs, right? And so I've gone along a lot further. So what we did, starting 2 years ago, honestly, we took those custom GPTs and I handed those to my my employees, right, and had them test it and come back to me. What's wrong with this? What do we need to fix? And kind of iterated through that journey there. We got to where we have 35 of these GPTs, because essentially what we've done is like, okay, what are you struggling with in your position, right? And what can we improve? How can I help you using AI? So they've come up with all these ideas over time. Now we took all of those custom GPTs now, and we created OpenAI assistants, right? In the OpenAI backend, right? So this is a little bit more advanced than what ChatGPT is. It's the same idea. You're taking a set of instructions and you're putting them in there, and then we did some programming to do all of the things that attach to those assistants. All right. So a prime example is like our article creator. We went through all these different versions of it and essentially came to what we felt was good. We plugged it into our software, and now our software is now agentic in the fact that we tell it, okay, this is the main topic, and it goes out and finds all of the questions that people are asking for. It creates all of the blogs, and it suggests all of the titles for the blogs. We choose yes or no on those. It goes out and it writes those blogs. And so that's kind of an illustration of what you can do. Now we've started taking that even further, right? Because hey, I'm a geek. I love geeking out on this stuff, right? So we took it even further, and I'm going to show y'all a little bit of what we did here, but we're taking those and we're creating skills out of those now, right? Because skills are kind of the custom GPTs for all of these other platforms, right? Every single one of the other platforms have really taken on this idea of skills, which essentially is just a set of instructions of exactly how you want this task taken care of. Think of it as an SOP, okay? So what I'm going to show you here today is that next step of what we did. So what this is essentially something that I created for my team prior to me creating this tool. Okay. And yes, it's programmed. It's a web app that works. Okay. But I didn't write a lick of code for it. Right. I'm trained as a programmer. I've done programming. I've created all sorts of things. It's not my degree from, college, but, anyways, so we used to do things by hand. This is our hand checklist of what we would go through. And there are about 80 items in here that we would go through and check. Does this do this? Does your reputation have this? And all those kinds of things. Well, I took that and I said, well, I have an assistant who is taking probably 2 to 3 hours every one of these assessments. And why don't I just take that and plug it into AI and have AI do that? So I did that, and essentially you can look down through here, and what it created was this really cool assessment tool that's even better than what we produce now. Okay. But I did it without writing a lick of code. I did it using Claude Code in order to accomplish this. Okay. And so it created this cool little report. You can look down through it, right? And it's super in depth. It's way more in depth than what we have ever used. But it's something that is special to us because it's built on my marketing framework that I wrote my book on. Okay. So how did I do that? I'm not going to go into the absolute everything's on that. It would just blow your mind. But essentially I did it. See this little command line thing here. Okay. Can y'all still see that? So this is command line, right? This is Windows PowerShell. This is a terminal. Most people are afraid of this thing. However, I finally dug in on this on probably the end of November and really trying to figure out Claude Code. Okay, so all you have to do, once you install it and all that kind of stuff, you just type in Claude. Okay, I'm currently in this marketing audit code right now. So all I'm going to do is just say, hey, catch me up on where we are. In fact, I'm going to do it this way. Catch me up on where we are right now in our project.
Bye, voice.
For the win. It didn't work. Okay. All right. Catch
up
on our
Were you trying that with Whisper?
With Whisper, Whisper Flow. I've been digging it. I just didn't, obviously don't have it. I've restarted my computer.
I love it.
And so what it's doing, it's going through some of the documents that I learned along the way that I've got to have a context document so it remembers where it's at, because Claude Code kind of forgets periodically of where it's at, right? So if you go out from one session, come back into another session, it's got to remember that. So while it's doing this, it's actually using a model called Opus 4.6, which is the latest, not Opus, sorry, GLM 4.6, right?
Yeah.
Which is the latest. And actually it's using GLM 5. I just installed 5. They just released it. So it's as smart as Opus 4.6 is, right? According to all the benchmarks and all that kind of stuff, but it's about a 20th of the price. So if you're looking to do something like this, GLM is definitely the way to go. Okay. So anyways, this is where we're at on this project, right? And it's essentially looked at everything, said, okay, what do we need to work on next? Okay. So it will come and prompt me on what we need to work on. And I'm just going to simply type in exactly what we need to do. Okay. That's about as far as I'm going to go with this. It's before we get too deep in the weeds on this. But the cool thing is that this acts just like a ChatGPT or even, Claude or Gemini or anything like that. You just simply talk to it. I have been doing it using Whisper Flow. I messed up on this. I didn't have that going because I restarted my computer right before this, but it's a lot more efficient, by the way, to speak. I found to it than actually type. And so that's the way that I've gone using a tool called Whisper Flow on that. So.
It looked like it was finagling and then it was brewing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool the way the word it puts those words there. And I'll show Chris this weekend because I didn't go to the command line because I did the command line, sorry, but I did it in VS Code. Virtual Studio Code. And the only difference is you've got that box at the bottom, you've got your files on the left-hand side, and you've got, if it creates a markdown file, it shows like you can basically a PDF or anything like that, it'll show up on top, and you can just bounce around between the three all on one screen. Only difference. But it's the same idea. It's a command line prompt.
And I've got VS Code. Yep. I've got that as well.
You've got it running as well. It's kind of cool. Yeah. It makes it a little bit more pretty for the people that like, not to feel like an absolute nerdy programmer, like Chris wants to feel like a nerdy programmer. We're allowed to say that because he said it first. So
when I'm in deep, flow state here, right, I typically have 3 to 4 of these windows open. Yeah. And I typically come in here and rename these tabs on what they're working on. Okay. So if I'm working on a specific module, I'll name it whatever I want it to be working on, right there. So kind of cool that you can have, as many as you want to, honestly, but I like 3 or 4 of them. And then on my other screen over here, I'm typically talking with Claude itself, on, okay, so, and planning out the next things that I want to build. Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about on that part on this side of things.
Well, I think it's cool to mention that just going around the horn, AI is so diverse now, and just the 5 of us are going in 5 different directions, yet we're all still tied to a lot of the main LLMs, whether that's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, some of the ones that have already been mentioned. But it's going so fast that we try to share different perspectives, different ideas, different things that you may or may not be able to use in your business. But just remember, now's the time to get started. You don't have to be a coder. With vibe coding and all the things that Chris is showing and John's talking about, yeah, there's some technical geeky stuff out there that'll blow your mind. But at the same time, there's a lot of simple AI processes and tools that you can now just use in your daily regimen, whether that's your personal, making your shakes or looking at your health or running your business or whatever it is. It's here. It's here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. But just be advised that it is going to just get more and more embedded into everything that we do. I know my wife and I, just this weekend, we already said, hey, we're going to do some things with some of the AI tools we have access to and we know how to use just to kind of improve some things in our health and our routines, our exercise, and those kind of things. These are things you can do personally. Obviously, we want to share as many ideas as we can business-wise. So like John shared, and I think Laura shared, when they said show notes, basically means a description in the YouTube, or if you're on a podcast channel, there'll be some notes there. It's pretty much just the description of our show. That's where you're going to find more information because we're going to be rolling out a lot of really cool stuff. So stay tuned. So I think with that, unless anybody has any closing comments, we'll kind of wrap. Does anybody have anything else to share? Well, not John. No, I'm
just going to tell them what's going to be in the show notes because this is really cool and I'm so excited. AImarketingexperts.net website. Started, go look in the show notes. By the time you guys get this episode, it is there. There will be a link to a community for everything that we're talking about in this show, replays, all that kind of stuff, handouts, you name it, the free community. We've been asked for it. We want you guys to rally around us. We're going to be creating a a handout for every single one of the episodes. So you can get that in there as well. So just sign up for that. That's great. And then the people that want to go to the next level, we're going to be adding that layer because we've been asked about that. So whether it is your health or around the house or your business and stuff like that, what do you mean by custom GPT? All that kind of stuff? Keep an eye out. That's coming as well. And a little rally community around that. And the next iteration is the crowd that has been asking us about the stuff Chris just talked about, right? So the layers are get started, take it to the next level, be engaged because the world is changing around you faster than ever before. And if you really want to take it to the next level, we're building this stuff. We've got, like, again, all 5 of us have different levels of skill. And that's the beauty of this group. And that's the beauty of the group and the community we're pulling together. So wherever you fit, as a business owner, agency owner, solopreneur, whatever, jump in, follow along over there, bring your friends, and whoever said it, Jen, let's have a party. So.
Well, listen to John, because John knows, let me tell you. All right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up the week's episode of AI Marketing Experts. Smash the like button, tell your friends about us. Stay tuned for more really cool stuff coming your way. And like always, have a great weekend ahead.